A quick pretext to this video. I've been planning to make a lot more videos for my time away than I was actually able to do in the end. I apologize for that. I did not mean to put you on as much of a break. I will try to put out some more videos during the next week. This week should be mostly covered, but unfortunately, I just have all these half-finished ideas that didn't really end up turning into a full video because I didn't have time for it. I will make up for that either next week if I can get something in, and otherwise latest by the time I'm back. I'm really sorry for that. Today, we're talking about the worst gods to see in ranked. There are some gods that for some reason, when somebody else picks them, always end up being absolutely horrible if you have them on your team, sometimes even when they're on the enemy team. Number 6 goes to Aphrodite. Have you ever seen an Aphrodite actually play well? I have, but it very rarely happens. Most of the time you will see Aphrodite somehow picking support, thinking that's a good role for Aphrodite when she has hardly anything for that, and just feed their brains out, have no pressure in lane, and then just kinda become completely irrelevant for the rest of the game, whereas the enemy team will have a decent frontlining tank, and you just get stomped. The other types are soul lane Aphrodites, kinda equally not working well because also not really a frontliner. They can do a little bit better though, sometimes, if they actually get to late game without getting completely farmed and they understand what wards are. Then you have the mid lane Aphrodites and the jungle Aphrodites. Those usually do the best out of the bunch, but you really don't see them very often because they don't offer much for either of those roles. Number 5 goes to the edgelord himself, Thanatos. I think him being an edgelord is the reason why somehow a lot of bad players seem to pick him, thinking they're super cool and they pick Thana, starting with him on level 1, playing him to level 30, never experiencing any other gods, and then kinda getting countered out and not understanding how to win the game if you're not completely pub stomping the enemy team. That's basically all it boils down to. Thana players are usually good when they're ahead, but in ranked a lot of things can go wrong, and if they don't get ahead, somehow they often fail miserably. Place number 4 goes to Scylla. Now, Scylla players can be very, very good. Emphasis is on can be. Most of them have seen Scylla in a pro game somewhere and somehow think that they can pull off the same stuff, without considering that they don't have the same mechanical skill, they don't get the same setup from the team, and it's just a completely different scenario. Most of the time when you see a Scylla, they will be farming for the majority of the early game, either trying to get their passive stacks up or the effect up, or needing a specific rank of their ultimate in order to be effective according to them, and just generally not having much of an impact and getting out-rotated and out-pressured for the entire early game, which in ranked can already be a downfall. But the bigger struggle is what you actually see in late game, where so many Scyllas for some reason don't really hit their ults at all and are kinda useless outside of their crush. It's super frustrating to see, knowing what the potential of this god is, and it's not gonna get any better as long as people think they're good the moment they pick Scylla before they actually practice her. Number 3 goes to Kukulkan. Kukulkan players like to farm in ranked a lot. They like to double stack, they like to sit in middle lane, they like to not rotate at all, they like to get rotated on and get camped, and that's why they're above Scylla in this regard, because Kukulkan really doesn't have many escape tools when an enemy team tries to really lock him down and gank him as frequently as they can. That's all there is to him. You cannot do much with a tornado until a certain point of the game, and there is the odd case out where you have a Kukulkan player that's really, really good, reliably zones off with a tornado and reliably hits his ultimates, and whenever I see one I'm actually very, very impressed, but those are very rare. The majority of them are just players that somehow bought that god and then figured, hey, I'm gonna keep playing him forever, get into Mastery 10 and not do anything else afterwards. Number 2 goes to one that most of you will probably expected on number 1. And that is Loki. Now, Loki is frustrating to have on your team most of the time, no doubt. He's probably off somewhere split pushing, not helping the team, doing his solo thing and then complaining if he gets rotated on. Why is Loki not number 1? 2 reasons. 1, he can actually get away from ganks quite well. He has a lot of tools to survive, and most Lokis are okay with doing that to some degree. And just having the survivability means that they're not completely gonna feed the opposition, and that can often be enough. Just not having your teammates feed can really help. The other reason is the fact that there are some really good Loki players out there. Even if they're split pushing in between, that can help. Especially at lower ranks, split pushing can actually be effective to some degree, so you can't really complain when the Loki is winning you the game. And if you see one of those against your team and the team doesn't know how to counter it, again, something that very often happens on lower levels, then Loki can be very annoying and frustrating for your team and very beneficial for the enemy team. The number one spot, though, goes to somebody else. The number one spot on this list goes to Anubis. What the hell are Anubis players in ranked doing? I don't understand it. The god is not bad. Anubis, yes, is situational, but he's got a ridiculous amount of damage. He's got a ridiculous amount of potential behind him in his kit, with his CC, with his damage. Yeah, he lacks the mobility. That's it. And you have to play around that. But somehow, people don't understand how to play around that. Somehow, half of the Anubis players I meet don't even speak English, they have never heard of the concept of warding, they don't rotate for buffs, they just sit in mid lane, instant clear the wave, and then don't benefit from that instant clear at all, because they don't know what to do after. They just sit in mid lane, maybe look at the enemy and somehow try to split push or some ridiculous stuff. Whatever you want to do as Anubis when you don't know how to play the god. Similar to Kukulkan, exceptions exist here, but somehow they're even more rare as he really doesn't have any mobility in his kit, and too many people struggle with that by playing him at the same time, expect to pub stomp and miserably fail if they don't pub stomp. Those are my top 6 worst gods to see in ranked. I'd like to hear your opinion on which gods you really despise seeing on your team in ranked, or maybe even on the enemy team. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you're not subscribed yet, feel free to click the sub button and maybe the bell, it really helps me out. Again, I am currently away, so this video will be uploaded, but I am not there, and I will be back on the 20th. If there aren't as many videos in between as usual, I apologize. There should at least be a decent amount of creator spotlights tagged as a DCS from other creators on my channel, so you have something to watch in between. With that, thank you very much for watching. Duke Sloth, out.